China's Year of Hubris. Xi Jinping should resist the urge to switch from defense to offense, suggests Patrick Foulis. After a successful 2025, Xi Jinping and China's leadership face a year of temptation in 2026. So far, they have played their cards well in the Trump era, insulating China's economy from the trade war, retaliating deftly, and otherwise standing back to let the dismantling of the American-led world order proceed apace under the White House's direction. But hubris haunts the Communist Party, and in 2026, Mr. Xi will be tempted to assert China's interests more aggressively. That creates a risk of dangerous overreach in three areas: trade, Taiwan, and new Chinese-run global rules. No one expected the first year of a Trump administration to be easy, but for China it went well enough. The economy grew by about 5%, despite tariffs and a painful property sector adjustment. While consumers were subdued, private sector risk appetite soared. By November 2025, the MSCI China Index of shares had beaten the S&P 500 in dollar terms, and China had raised more capital in initial public offerings than Wall Street. So much for China being uninvestable. The trade war has vindicated Mr. Xi's decade-long campaign to eliminate foreign chokeholds on China and boost its self-sufficiency. Indigenous chip makers and artificial intelligence firms boomed in 2025, and the share of Chinese trade invoiced in yuan rose to an impressive 30%. China's oil stockpile reached a record 1.2 billion barrels. In his first meeting with Donald Trump for 6 years, in October 2025, Mr. Xi offered MAGA-pleasing deals on fentanyl and soybeans, while making no compromises on his vision for state-led global techno-industrial supremacy. China's new 5-year plan, released in March 2026, will double down on this goal. It is easy to be beguiled by China's adroit statecraft. Yet the Z era has featured many episodes of hubris. The wolf warrior phase of coercive diplomacy backfired. His common prosperity drive against crony capitalism crushed entrepreneurs. The zero COVID policy went on too long. It is unclear why this happens, but the suspicion is that, in an autocratic system, cowed officials don't object to Mr. Xi's bad or woolly ideas. Instead, they implement them overzealously. This inbuilt tendency to overreach could flare up in several ways in 2026. The first is if Mr. Xi takes his techno-industrial crusade too far. As he diverted trade from America, China's exports to the rest of the world surged by 11% year-on-year in the first 9 months of 2025. By late 2025, Germany's annualized trade deficit with China was approaching $100 billion. BYD, a Chinese car champion, plans to have 2,000 stores in Europe by late 2026. If China swamps the world with even more exports, it will trigger a panic over deindustrialization in the West and more tariffs on its goods. The second area of hubris in 2026 could be Taiwan. American spies believe Mr. Xi has told the People's Liberation Army to be capable of invading the self-governing island by 2027. That is when the Communist Party's next 5-yearly Congress takes place, and the question of succession will loom large. Some of Mr. Xi's advisers may argue that in 2026, the conditions for an aggressive grey zone campaign against Taiwan, such as a customs inspections regime that falls short of an embargo, will be better than at any point in living memory. Mr. Trump is ambivalent about defending the island. The threat of punitive American tariffs is a busted flush. Taiwan's voters are polarized, and China has the support of some 70 countries for reunification by all means. A stoking of tensions, always dangerous, could have especially unpredictable effects in the Trump era by triggering a regional arms race by American allies afraid of abandonment. Even as he weighs trade and Taiwan, Mr. Xi may be tempted to propose more Chinese-led global rules to replace the decaying Western ones. By late 2025, there were signs of this third kind of hubris. China launched a global governance initiative to create new rules on finance, AI, climate and space, and proposed a worldwide compulsory licensing scheme for rare earths used in high-tech manufacturing. It is true that this extraterritorial projection of power mimics America's approach, but it will still be unpopular in 2026, especially in democracies that fear dependency on China with its autocratic government. If Mr. Xi is wise, he will resist these temptations. He will temper excess industrial capacity inside China to slow the export surge and dial up domestic demand. Wait and see if Taiwan's position weakens further, and show the world that China provides global infrastructure such as payments, clean tech, AI and cloud computing without coercing customers. The reason is not that China necessarily believes in caution, but because Mr. Trump is likely to do a more effective job than China of further dismantling the Western-led trade and security system. By November 2026, it will be 10 years since the two men first spoke. Back then, Mr. Xi said they agreed to win-win cooperation with differences controlled in a constructive manner. It has not turned out like that. But if China can resist temptation, it will end 2026 having compounded its advantage. Patrick Foulis, foreign editor, The Economist.